Chapter 2. Aftermath. The tavern fell into a heavy silence, broken only by the soft sobs of Arina as she cradled the lifeless body of her father, the old mage. Fredric stood nearby, his heart pounding, his mind reeling from the chaos that had unfolded. He felt a surge of shock and confusion coursing through him, unable to comprehend the magnitude of what had just transpired. Arina's grief was palpable, her cries echoing through the tavern as she clung desperately to her father's still form. Her sorrow was mixed with a seething rage, her eyes ablaze with a fiery intensity that seemed to pierce through the very fabric of reality. Fredric approached cautiously, unsure of what to say or do in the face of such overwhelming emotion. "Arina, I'm so sorry," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Arina's gaze snapped towards him, her eyes blazing with anger. "Sorry," she spat, her voice laced with venom. "Sorry doesn't bring him back, does it?" Fredric recoiled, stung by her words. He knew he was at fault, that his actions had contributed to the tragedy that had befallen them. I didn't mean for any of this to happen," he stammered, his voice trembling with emotion. Arina's expression softened slightly, a flicker of pain crossing her features. "I know," she said quietly, her voice tinged with sorrow. "But that doesn't change the fact that he's gone." Fredric felt a lump form in his throat, his chest constricted with guilt and remorse. He wished he could turn back time, undo the events that had led to this moment, but he knew it was impossible. Mary, sensing the tension in the air, approached cautiously, her expression one of concern. "What happened here?" she asked, her voice tinged with apprehension. Fredric recounted the events of the confrontation, his words tumbling out in a jumbled mess as he struggled to make sense of it all. Mary listened in stunned silence, her hand covering her mouth in shock. As the gravity of the situation sank in, Mary turned to Arina, her eyes filled with sympathy. "I'm so sorry for your loss," she said softly, her voice filled with genuine compassion. Arina nodded wordlessly, her gaze fixed on her father's lifeless form. She knew that no amount of words could ease her pain, but she found some solace in the shared grief of those around her. Fredric stood nearby, his heart heavy with guilt and sorrow. He knew that he could never undo the harm he had caused, but he vowed to do whatever he could to make amends, to honor the memory of the mage who had lost his life because of him. Arina, her grief still fresh, struggled to compose herself as she explained the mark left on Fredric's chest, a lingering remnant of her father's final spell. "It binds you to me," she said bitterly, her voice tinged with resignation. "You must accompany me on my journey through the lands of the orcs and dwarves, back to my homeland." Fredric's eyes widened in shock, his mind reeling at the revelation. But why me?" he stammered, unable to comprehend the weight of the burden now placed upon him. Arina's expression softened slightly, her gaze meeting his with an intensity that belied her sorrow. "Because you're the one my father chose. I don't know why, but you are," she replied quietly, her voice filled with a sense of finality. "And now, you're bound to me, whether you like it or not." Fredric felt a surge of panic rising within him, his thoughts racing as he struggled to make sense of the situation. He knew he had no choice but to honor the spell, to accompany Arina on her perilous journey through unknown lands. As Arina revealed the true purpose of their quest, to return an ancient artifact, the crown worn by the tyrant human king a century ago, Fredric felt a sense of dread creeping over him. He knew that their journey would be fraught with danger, their path fraught with obstacles that would test their resolve to the limit. "And we must return the crown before the year is up," Arina added solemnly, her voice tinged with urgency. "Or else, well, let's just say the consequences won't be pleasant." Fredric nodded grimly, his mind racing as he tried to come to terms with the enormity of their task. He knew that their journey would be fraught with peril, their path fraught with danger, but he also knew that he had no choice but to see it through to the end. And so, as the night wore on and the tavern fell into a restless silence, Fredric and Arina found themselves bound together by fate, their destinies intertwined in ways they could never have imagined. And as they prepared to embark on their journey, They knew that the road ahead would be long and treacherous, but they also knew that they would face it together, united in their quest to right the wrongs of the past and secure a better future for all. The next morning, Fredric descended the stairs to find Arina and his mother seated at a table in the quiet tavern. Mary had closed the inn for the day, a rare occurrence, signaling the gravity of their conversation. "Fredric, sit down. We need to talk," Mary said, her tone serious as she gestured for him to join them. Fredric took a seat, his heart pounding with anticipation and apprehension as he awaited their words. Mary took a deep breath, her gaze steady as she addressed her son. "I've decided to find someone from the village to help run the tavern while you're away," she began, her voice tinged with a mixture of sadness and determination. "You need to fulfill your duty to Arina and her mission." Fredric felt a pang of guilt at leaving his mother behind, but he knew that he had no choice but to honor the spell that bound him to Arina and fulfill his role in their quest. Arina, her expression grave, spoke next, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of history. "Fredric, you need to understand the significance of our mission," she said, her tone solemn. "The ancient crown we seek was given to the ruler of the human kingdom 100 years ago as an offering of peace. It was a symbol of the alliance between our kingdoms, a pledge that the humans would not seek to expand their borders into our realm." Fredric listened intently, his mind racing as he tried to grasp the gravity of their task. But when the human king died, the contract was nullified and the crown was lost. Arina continued, her voice tinged with bitterness. "Now that it has been found, it must be returned to the Elven Kingdom. If it is not, if we fail in our mission, the consequences will be dire. The Elven Kingdom will have no choice but to invade the human realm to reclaim what is rightfully theirs." Fredric's eyes widened in shock at the magnitude of their mission, the weight of their responsibility pressing down upon him like a heavy burden. "We cannot allow that to happen," Arina said, her voice firm. "We must succeed, no matter the cost." Fredric nodded solemnly, his resolve firm as he prepared to embark on the journey that would change the course of their lives forever. Together, he and Arina would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their quest to restore peace and honor to their kingdoms. Arina and Fredric sat across from each other at the table, their minds consumed with the daunting task that lay ahead. Fredric, feeling a mixture of excitement and trepidation, leaned in attentively as Arina outlined their plan. "Fredric, our journey will be fraught with danger, and you must be prepared," Arina began, her tone serious. "You are not a trained fighter, but you will need to learn to defend yourself along the way." Fredric nodded, his determination unwavering as he prepared himself for the challenges ahead. "I understand, Arina. I'll do whatever it takes to learn." Arina nodded in approval, her expression softening slightly. "Good. We'll start your training as soon as we're on the road." Fredric couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement at the prospect of learning from Arina, despite the dangers that awaited them. "But first, we need to ensure you have the proper equipment for the journey," Arina continued, her gaze thoughtful. "You'll need weapons, armor, and supplies for the road." Fredric's heart sank at the realization of the practicalities they needed to address before setting out on their quest. "I don't have much money saved up," he admitted, feeling a pang of embarrassment. Arina placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Don't worry, Fredric. We'll figure something out." As they discussed their route through the realms of the orcs and dwarves, Mary descended the stairs, a bag of gold clutched tightly in her hands. Her eyes were red-rimmed with emotion as she approached them, her voice trembling with barely contained emotion. "Fredric, I've been saving this for you all these years," Mary said, her voice thick with emotion as she handed him the bag of gold. "I wanted you to have a better life, but I can think of no better use for it than to help you on your journey." Fredric was speechless, his eyes brimming with tears as he realized the depth of his mother's sacrifice and love. "Thank you, Mother," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Arina placed a hand on Fredric's shoulder, her eyes filled with understanding. "We'll make sure to spend it wisely, Mary," she said, her voice soft but determined. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their quest to restore peace and honor to their kingdoms. And with Mary's selfless gift guiding them, they set out on their journey, their hearts filled with hope and determination. As they discussed their route, Arina unfolded a map of the land, tracing their path with her finger. "Our first stop will be the orc realm of Haknath," she explained, her voice steady despite the gravity of their mission. "It's a treacherous land filled with danger, but we must pass through it to reach the dwarven realm of Crockett." Fredric's eyes widened at the mention of the orc realm, his mind racing with tales of its fierce inhabitants. "What dangers will we face there?" he asked, his voice tinged with apprehension. Arina's expression darkened slightly. "Orcs are known for their brutality and aggression," she explained. "We'll need to tread carefully and avoid confrontation if possible." Fredric nodded, his resolve firm despite his fears. "And once we reach Crockett?" he asked, eager to learn more about their journey. Arina's gaze softened as she turned her attention back to the map. "The dwarven realm is known for its formidable defenses and skilled craftsmen," she explained. "We'll need to secure their assistance if we hope to succeed in our mission." Fredric listened intently, his mind buzzing with questions and concerns. But as he looked at Arina, he knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Their bond forged by fate and their shared determination to see their quest through to the end. As night fell, Fredric lay in his bed, the events of the day replaying in his mind like a relentless storm. Despite his exhaustion, sleep eluded him, his thoughts consumed by the daunting journey that lay ahead. He tossed and turned restlessly, his mind plagued by uncertainty and fear. Downstairs, Arina sat alone in the dimly lit tavern, her fingers tracing the outline of the bag containing the ancient artifact. The weight of her grief pressed heavily upon her heart, a constant reminder of the loss she had endured. She longed for the comfort of her father's presence, his wisdom and guidance now forever beyond her reach. As she clutched the bag tightly to her chest, tears welled in her eyes, their silent tracks staining her cheeks. The weight of their quest bore down upon her, its burden heavy and unyielding. Yet, amidst the darkness that threatened to consume her, a glimmer of hope remained, fueled by her unwavering determination to honor her father's memory and fulfill their mission. In the quiet solitude of the tavern, Arina found solace in the memories of her father, his voice echoing softly in her mind like a gentle breeze. She would carry his legacy with her, his strength and courage guiding her every step of the way. As the night stretched on, Fredric and Arina each found themselves lost in their own thoughts, their hearts heavy with the weight of the challenges that lay ahead. But in the darkness of the night, they found a shared sense of purpose, a bond forged by fate and fueled by the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And as sleep finally claimed them, their dreams were filled with visions of the journey that awaited them, its trials and tribulations tempered by the unwavering strength of their resolve.